Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm talking about this and also what's inside. So stick around because I think you're going to enjoy this. So in January, I got a mirrorless camera, which I have done videos on, and I got a lens for my mirrorless camera. I actually had this lens picked out before I decided on which model of camera I was going to get. And if you've been following along here, you know that I love wildlife photography. So yes, this is a lens for doing wildlife photography. And I have to say I am in love with this lens. Hi guys, I just want to interrupt your video for one quick moment and ask a favor. YouTube is telling me that the majority of my viewers are not subscribed to the channel. So if that's you, if you're watching and you're not subscribed, I would so appreciate if you would subscribe. Also, if you're enjoying this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you hit that bell icon, it will notify you when I upload videos in the future. I really do appreciate your support and it helps me continue to make videos just like this. Thank you so much. Now back to your video. This case is really nice. I will put a link to it down in the description box below. It zippers open on the top. It came with no instructions, so some of it I am not sure. It does have these two straps that seem adjustable. So maybe there's something you can attach that to or attach to that. I am not sure. But the location for the strap that came with it is really versatile and customizable. So there are two hooks here. You could have it from here, or you could use the two from the top. There's also two on this side. And then there's even two here, but you can also just carry it like this. There's also a little storage pouch here. As well as a storage pouch in the top up here. And the strap does have some padding here, so that can help carry the weight. It also came with this foam piece that I'm really not sure what you're supposed to do with it. And like I said, there were zero instructions. So if anyone knows what this is for, by all means, leave it in the comment section down below because I would love to know. And this is the lens. I normally have the hood on, but it fits better in the case with it turned the other way around. And I rarely use the cap cover, but I do when it's in the case. I like to keep it protected. So I store this in the case. And I also store this end piece in the case as well, so that when I'm ready to put it in the case, I can cover both ends. A few things worth noting is the collar and foot that came with this lens is not Arca Swiss or Arca compatible. So it wasn't working with my tripod. So I ordered a different one. And I really, really like it. I can put a link to that in the description box below. And it is the Arca type. But I use this on a cotton carrier G3 pretty much every single day. So that is this circular attachment. And then also from cotton carrier, I got this other attachment that goes on the foot. And this allows me to still put it on a tripod, because this circular one was kind of in the middle without that. And then I really couldn't use the tripod with it. So I love that. I highly recommend that. I can put links to those in the description box. I am going to do a separate video on the cotton carrier itself, and I will go into all of that. You will also see the same on the bottom of my camera as well. That's if I use any other lens besides this lens, then I'm hooking it on a tripod or cotton carrier with the camera body. So one of the biggest complaints I hear about this lens is the aperture. And I will say when I first got into photography, I mean, I've been into photography forever, but when I got my DSLR and got more serious about it in 2017, I started learning more, and I quickly knew that I wanted a really big zoom lens. And as I looked around for big lenses, at that time, they were all like $10,000, $15,000 and up. And you do still find those lenses, but those are the lenses now that have the good apertures for low lighting. And so what it seems to me is that a trend kind of came in to make these more affordable lenses, and they have compromised on the aperture to be able to keep this at a certain price point. And with that, now these are so accessible. Now you see tons of people all over the internet with these lenses because the price point is so decent. And now so many people now have these lenses, not just the super wealthy and professionals. I have not had any lighting issues with this. I honestly have not taken pictures and thought like, oh, I couldn't get it because it wasn't bright enough and this lens couldn't accommodate the lighting. That has not happened. And I am out pretty frequently in fog and, dark, cloudy skies and that sort of thing. So like I said earlier, this lens goes from 180 up to 600 millimeters. That is a very big range. And in the 180 to 300 range, your aperture is going to be 5.6. From 300 to 500, it's going to be 6. And from 500 to 600, it's going to be 6.3. That is the lowest that you can get, the lowest f-stop number you can get. You can certainly raise it higher than that if you need to. So while I'm using this for wildlife, I do also want to point out it can be used for other things. Anything far away, there are people who like to photograph aircraft in the sky. I do that sometimes myself, actually, but there are people who really dedicate their time to that. Or sports. This would also be good if you're filming sports that's on a field pretty far away, or any kind of event like that. I used to go see the monster trucks pretty often, and I would take my 18 to 300 lens, and I was at 300, but this would be amazing if you could take this and get really, really good shots. But of course, it is really good for wildlife because wildlife is disturbed by your presence. So you need to keep your distance and then zoom your lens in at something that's pretty far away. That's the whole key to wildlife photography. One thing that I do love is that this lens is not telescopic. My 18 to 300 lens, as you zoom, it's going out and coming back in. This one is internal. So this structure does not change. And there are two main reasons that I love this. One is if you put it on a tripod with a gimbal head and you balance it, if you're changing the length of it, that's not going to work. Like you're going to have to keep rebalancing over and over. So I can zoom and unzoom on a gimbal head and never worry about the weight or length of it changing at all. And then the other benefit is there were so many times when I had my 18 to 300 lens and a bird would either land right next to me or I would suddenly see it and I was really close and I would lift up my camera really slow and it would still be there, but it was the zooming out of the lens coming even closer was always the straw that broke the camel's back. That scared it away. So with this, I can lift it up very slowly and I could zoom it if it need be, but the bird isn't going to see any change whatsoever as I'm zooming. So for those are my two main reasons why I really appreciate that. I do know for some people that's a con. For some people, they would rather it be more compact and smaller in size while they're not needing it zoomed. Like my 18 to 300 it goes back very, very nice and compact. And then I just zoom it out when I need it. So I could see how some people would want that, but I prefer this, to be honest. I've seen a lot of people discussing this lens, talking, is it sharp? Is it not? Apparently, there are some batches of them that do have issues, and you do need to send them in under warranty and have them worked on. but mine has been super, super sharp. So I am apparently not part of that batch, but do be aware in case you have one and it's not as sharp as you think it should be, then you might want to check with Nikon and have that looked at. One of my biggest questions before I got this lens, as I was doing research, was, can I hand hold this lens? I needed something that I could hand hold and take photos and hopefully videos. And I kept asking in groups online and I got such mixed answers. Some people said, yes, I hand hold it all the time. Other people said, no, I cannot hand hold this. And it was all over the place. And so I was just hoping and hoping that I would be able to hand hold it. And yes, the majority of the time I do, when I go see the bald eagles in the nest in Orange County, California, I do have it on a tripod because I'm there for a couple of hours. I don't want to be standing there holding it. So I put it on the tripod and I love it. I actually have a remote to take the pictures, which I'll do a video on that later. But the rest of the time I'm walking around and I have my cotton carrier and my camera and I'm hand holding the shots. I will say hand holding for video is very challenging, but I think even more so because of the camera body that I chose. It does not have the internal body image stabilization, IBIS. I don't know how people are pronouncing that. I think it's a tomato, but yeah, this camera does not have that. And I think it makes it even harder. But even cameras that do have it, I still see people saying it's challenging to get video. So on the tripod, it's fantastic. I do look for something around me to kind of rest it on and stabilize it on. But most of the time I'm just holding it. I steady my body as much as possible, but even my breathing moves it somewhat. And so for right now, I'm really just trying to get little short clips of bird videos or wildlife videos, and I put them into my shorts. So I don't need super long videos that are really steady. I'm just trying to get little pieces, and I've been able to do that. And I've been able to do up to like 20, 30-second pieces at times, and keep them steady. So it is challenging, but doable. And photos handheld for me is very doable. The camera body and the lens together is about 6 pounds, a little over 6 pounds. If you saw my reel about my weighted vest, I love that one. I can link it down in the description box in case you haven't seen it, because I really enjoyed making that. I had the idea in my head for a while and then I finally got to execute it. But yes, so hand holding is very doable. I'm 53, I'm older, but I do work out, but yes, doable. So you can kind of compare with me if you're trying to figure out the same thing for yourself. So continuing with that, being that this is a little over 6 pounds. Yes, I carry it in the cotton carrier. I have done like 3-hour walks and I was totally fine. Most days I walk about an hour, hour and a half. That's kind of my norm, but I did do the 3-hour one. And then, just a few days back, I did an over 8-mile walk with this. And yes, I was pretty tired. I have to admit, I was pretty tired, but I was not expecting to go for 8 miles. That was not the plan. So, but I did do it. But yes, the weight did at that point, it was several hours. Yes, I was feeling it, but it was still doable. So I'll throw that in there for what it's worth to help you decide. You can definitely also put it on a monopod when you're going around. I will probably do that when it's longer. If I had known I was going for 8 miles or over 8 miles, I probably would have just put it on a monopod. That is another way to really ease the weight of it, if that's an option for you. So the only lens I can really compare this to is the one I was using prior for wildlife, which was my 18-300. This is obviously a much better lens for this. It doubles the focal length and it's just wonderful. When there's any chance of rain, I do still go back to my 18-300 lens because I can cover it and zip up my windbreaker that is waterproof, and I can keep it protected. This one, it's not so much the size, but it's because on the cotton carrier with my 18-300, I'm attaching from here on the camera body. But with this one, it's here and it just sticks so much further out with this. See how much further out that is? that my windbreaker can't get over it, especially up at the top part. So I could get a larger jacket at some point, but for now, I just switch back. If there's any chance of rain, I just switch back to my 18 to 300 because I know I can just cover it up if it starts raining. There is also on here, it's worth mentioning, there is a button and it's on here four times. It's the same button. It's a programmable button, but all four of those are going to do one task that you can assign. I have not yet come up with an idea for what to use here. You can look online. There are lots of ideas. People have different things they do. I just haven't had a need. When I got this camera, there's tons of customizable options. And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do with that. And I have used quite a few, to be honest. But this one here, I have not yet come up with an idea. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But I'm very content and doing very well without assigning something there. I will say there's also the switch to switch from automatic focus to manual focus, but you can still use manual focus even when you're on the automatic. I will say though that it's not easy to reach because I steady out here. I try to get as close to the end to steady the tip of the lens. And then my other hand is here focusing and capturing the photo. So then trying to reach this here is challenging. I kind of have to do this. I kind of have to put it here on my arm and do this, or I bring this hand back and my ring finger right here can do it. And then when I'm ready, I go back out to steady it. But that is not the most super convenient place for that. The zoom is right here. And even when I'm out here, I can bring my thumb back here and work the zoom there while I'm steadying it. And then there is one more switch and it says full or 6 meters. And what I have found with this is full is just, you're going to focus on anything in the range of this lens. But if it's farther away than 6 meters, you flip it to that other one and you're telling it to look farther away. And this has been really helpful. There have been times, especially smaller birds, but they're farther out, or even if I'm trying to focus on a flower or something, but it's farther away, this switch tells it focus farther away, and then I can usually get it. So if I'm trying to get something that's not close, it's farther off and it's struggling to focus on it, I will flip that switch, and it's been so amazing. So honestly, after getting used to this, when I've gone out and there's a chance of rain and I have my 18 to 300 lens, I'm like looking for that switch on, and I'm like, oh no, that's the other lens. Like I don't have that switch right now. So I really do like that switch. That has been really, really helpful. So definitely to be successful with this lens, you want to support it well. Any big lens, even my 300, when it's fully extended, I make sure I'm supporting the tip of the lens, because you can be, steady right here and your tip is still wiggling around, right? That happens. So you want to steady as far out as possible, and you can kind of let it sit on your arm here too, possibly. But usually if I'm raising it up, then I'm not. But if you're looking at your screen and you're using that, instead of the viewfinder, you can totally rest it on your arm and then get to know the autofocus settings on your camera and make sure you're using the appropriate settings for what you are shooting. And I have heard a lot of people say to use a higher shutter speed than you would expect on this lens. And I do, and I like that. It seems to work really well. And I haven't had lighting issues, or you would think with the aperture it has that you would need a lower shutter speed to get more light, but I really haven't had any issues. But when I do have it on a tripod, I love to lower my shutter speed and get more light there because there's no camera shake happening. And that's also why I use the remote on top of it. So I will definitely insert some photos as well as videos that I've taken with this lens. It will also be with this camera. This is the Z50 Mark II camera. So then you can see for yourself what it is capable of doing. And then final verdict, is it worth it? For me, 1,000% yes, absolutely. I wanted it and I love it. I still love it. I was not disappointed at all. It is fantastic. So who should buy it? Anyone into wildlife or, aircraft or sports, anything at a distance. It's really, really amazing. And I think you'll be very, very happy with it. Who should skip it? Well, anyone who doesn't need something at a distance, or anyone who cannot carry something 6 pounds or more and can't be putting it on a monopod or something like that. If none of those options work for you, then I guess I would have to say yes, skip it, because it is heavy. It can be challenging. I say if it's, depending what the situation is, but if you just think you can't, if you're able to work out, build some muscle so that you can. It's worth it. So is this the best wildlife lens at this price point? I personally think it is, but let me know in the comment section what you think is the best wildlife lens in this price point. So thank you for joining me. I hope this was helpful, and let me know if you've used this lens or if you're wanting this lens. And if you want it, what do you plan to use it for in the comment section down below? Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great day, guys, and God bless you.